letter and handed it to me yesterday, and he says, we need 1,200 copies, and here's your envelopes, and here's the stickers, you know, stick the envelopes, stuff them, put postage on them, and then call it. 1,200 donation requests like that going out. And I looked at the guy, and I said, I don't remember doing this last year, so tell me how this works. And he's like, well, I always just drop them off to Jessie, and she usually has them done within a day or two. And I said, do you usually do this in January? Because I'm going to call a bullshit flag on this. I said, you're in the middle of my tax season. I said, I don't have time to freaking be stuffing 1,200 envelopes for you. Don't you have volunteers?
Would that be Skip?
And no, guy,
John, are we on?
Wiley, I think was his name, over in there.
Double check it.
And
I
took him home, and my sister and I last night from 8 until 11 sat there. We got 500 stuff.
What were the envelopes for? What were they for?
Cemetery donations or annual requests. He says, well, we normally do it in October or November, but we were late this year because they were waiting for their nonprofit status to come through.
Which cemetery? Down the barn?
Wellesley Island.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, 'cause I already got mine from Skip.
Skip does that.
Yeah.
He does very
Skip
well.
does it for,
I'm gonna wait till 5, which is only a minute or two ago now, but we adjourned our meeting last night, so technically speaking, I would like to open this meeting as far as the town's concerned. Right, that's all I want. I don't know how, but we had to do that in order to get before public hearing.
Right. I mean, you're just gonna, it's basically a town meeting, right?
Yep.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I think that's the right way to do it, Chief, isn't it? Absolutely. It is in my book.
Yeah.
I don't really even have a book.
You normally sit up there? You normally sit up there during the meeting?
No.
No.
He does, he keeps us down here.
In the
Quite
pit.
awkward. How's Dale doing?
You do.
Yeah, it's doing okay. I've talked to him a couple times. Yeah. He's not gonna be doing much for a while, but he plans on being at our next meeting, which is in February.
Yep. He's at the
Talk
library,
to you,
watching the movie.
Ain't good.
Yeah, no.
Wish I wouldn't have said me.
So Jamie had an operation, he had a deal with his kidney, and because he had a horseshoe kidney, they had to do it surgically. He showed us the cut, but they didn't do that, you know, yeah. Okay, it's 5 o'clock, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Town of Alexandria meeting on January 18th, 2024, would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't really have any format here, I just put a few notes together myself with some questions that I had, or maybe we had, so on and so forth. Who wants to start, and how do you
You come
want?
in.
We're just waiting for Donna.
Oh,
I think, you know, we were gonna do a tour, which would maybe help us see all the projects that you guys have going on, or that are gonna do.
Oh, you mean for the water project?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right. That would help us see and understand what's.
Well, talking about that.
And then also we gotta put, you know, we have to put numbers to these projects, so.
Gregor wants to know if we can do the water, presentation on the 31st at 3 p.m. That's a Wednesday.
And that's the one that you want the town, or you want the supervisor and the engineer, I mean, if the whole board wants to come, are they welcome? Cause we had
Yeah.
talked about that with before.
I don't think it's I mean, you probably should, so everybody knows what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have a
Would
problem
you
with
say
that.
3 o'clock?
Sometimes
3
it's easier to be right there than try to
Oh,
explain
there's
it.
no question it is, I just thought you guys would worry about liability when we talked about the sewer plant and going up and down the stairs and everything else. But
Well, that's.
I think we can all handle
That
that.
was more for,
If we can't, just
Yeah.
don't come.
Yeah, the 31st is the water plant. They want to do, and it'll be Gregor, the gentleman from the tank company, and Thomas from Dank. And then the 24th, Gregor wants to do the wastewater treatment plant with us,
what time was that?
3 o'clock. both of them.
What day is that?
It's a Wednesday.
Let's go back to what you said on the first one.
31st,
You said the tank.
the water tank.
So we're gonna do the water plant
We're gonna do, yeah.
and the water tank. How about the water tanks?
Cause well, we had questions on.
If you wanna go see them, we can, but the gentleman is coming, yes, both of them are gonna give a presentation on what the project paperwork says.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And then there is a gentleman that's coming to talk to us about the tank on
Good.
Rockwell that.
So there's really only one tank in the picture, is that right? The one
We're
on
just
Rockwell?
looking at the new one because I had lots
Yeah.
of questions on the glass line tank.
Yeah,
I wanted to show, and he
Yeah.
said he'll show me
yeah,
what it consists of because
yeah.
Yeah, he's the gentleman that
cold.
spurred the canceling today.
Mm-hmm.
So he's
Oh,
gonna
okay.
be there, so it'll be 3 o'clock on the 31st. We'll start, Gregor thinks we should start with the presentation and then do the walk around.
And so our full board is invited to attend
Sure.
it and see. Okay.
Presentation down at the village
Village office.
office, okay.
You really need that.
What's that?
I mean, you kinda really need that presentation before you can really put numbers to anything.
Yeah, I can see that.
But we can discuss what you got for questions here. You know.
I mean, I was gonna say, as far as what you guys are talking about for loans and different things like that, what we're trying to do, what we'd like to do is be able to plug numbers into the formula.
Mm-hmm.
And then we gotta talk about the formula. But, I mean, the formula is set, is what it is right now. So I'd like to just create the numbers, plug the numbers into this formula we have, and see where we're at. Anybody have any other thoughts, or?
No, does everybody understand where the numbers come from?
Oh, that's what I had in the beginning of this. Yeah, I think we ought to explain the water system here. You can do that, Sandy, if you don't mind,
No,
as far as the master meters and everything.
I think it's easier if I give you guys copies of this. I don't have copies, I gotta make copies, sorry.
I'm not sure either, I got a rough idea, it's kinda new to me, but Jody's been involved, Greg knows from previous experience. Pretty sure he knows.
I've got an idea.
Yeah, he's got a good idea.
I don't know where your 5
I'm gonna say it's not totally straightforward, is it, right?
Yeah.
I'm village.
Yeah, Jarrett's great with us, as I came to your meeting and said thank you. I call him for, you know, and we gotta run equipment all the way over from the town barn in Redwood to do our jobs, the little jobs that we need done at the
Well,
rink.
you know, that's what it's for, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I asked him the other day when I didn't know what you guys had for loaders. I think you got a good one, a big one in the other one. And I said if they get hauling snow again like they do, maybe see, you
Yeah.
guys can see one down in the, have you guys push the snow back where we're hauling, 'cause it's a pain, they're stopping, running back up there and pushing
You know,
snow
it
back.
doesn't make any sense, they used to dump it in the river, but they dump it out here, and Thompson's out there, and it runs off, and things run right back in the river again, so what difference does it make? No
did
worse
it.
than salt and the
I
road
did-
up through, up, down, and runs into the.
I did it in the river, I was the one that got caught, so.
I was gonna say, well, you used to dump it in the river.
And then the Watertown used to dump it off that bridge in the Black River.
I got stopped.
Right.
I
Because
pushed
we
it
weren't
off,
told.
right by the Cornwall brothers, I pushed it right off. Boy,
And you were told to stop?
Oh,
By
yeah.
who?
He stopped.
The DEC,
Oh, he
Oh,
stopped.
they came?
oh, yeah.
Somebody reported you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's the question. Somebody reported you. What year
There
was
was
this?
never any answers that we got turned in.
Oh.
Somebody just wanted it stopped. They didn't think it was right.
Oh, that's
But where
interesting.
we first started was we pushed it in at the town dock, or at the village dock for the bathrooms. We pushed it right off and then drove right off and kept pushing it out on the ice there in the bay, and we got quite a pile down there, and then we decided to move to the Cornwall brothers, cause you could push it right on, and then it was just going down the river and be gone by the time it made Thompson's, but then somebody didn't like that either.
Busted.
But
Somebody doesn't like something.
somebody always does.
So you had mentioned that you have a interest-free loan, 0 interest.
30-year interest-free loan, $8 million.
So is that the only loan you're planning to have with that project?
At this point, I mean, it depends where
What
costs
your funding
go.
gap is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we have,
And I keep leaning on Gregor because every day adds more dollars.
some similar projects that we've got done that will have 2 or 3 loans against them, and there'll be a 0 interest, there'll be a 3% loan, there'll be a 5% loan. We actually have one 5% loan that we want to pay off, but it won't let us do it.
Well, every time, you know, if there is a grant that comes out that's new or some new source of funding between Gregor and Thomas, they apply for everything.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see, you know, whatever we can get,
Yeah, we're gonna need it.
yeah,
Thank you.
so.
Now, it's kind of similar to what our thoughts are about our Bolton Avenue project.
Let's go to the government, give them we billions of dollars.
This is the wrong one.
I wanna start with the
She's got
first
both.
one, and that's got both.
Oh, okay.
You got both?
You want to do it? You know what we're talking about? So, and Judy's well more versed in this than I am, so, stop me, interrupt me, help me however you can. This is my understanding. So when the village comes up with their budget at the beginning of each year, and we'll take this, center as what we're working on. The water budget is divided into 3 main segments: treatment, storage, and distribution. So depending on which district you're in, certain districts use all 3 things. I mean, obviously, everybody shares in the cost of treatment, but not everybody shares in storage or distribution. So last year, let's see if I got an extra copy for you. So last year, you know, if you look on page 2, it has the amounts, you know, the dollar amounts and the percentages and where they go, and utilities and chemicals and, you know, employees and debt service, things like that. I know I've asked for a breakdown from, on the village side, on these bonds and different things, so I can understand where they're going to, because there's about 8 of them, 7 or 8, there's quite a few, to see what exactly they were for and when and so on and so forth. But depending on, they take the total gallon usages, the total that we take out of the river and treat, and then they come up with percentages. So at the beginning of every district, there's a master meter, and the village takes these readings, and that's what, for the districts that are in the town, Redwood, Otter Street, Route 12, Carnegie Bay, and Edgewood, we get a meter read, we get a bill based off of these master meter reads. Those readings and the total gallons of usage for each district breaks down into a formula for the percentages, and that's how they figure out who owes how much. Does that make sense?
So the gallons, the total gallons that each district uses are figured out proportionally for all the costs up across the
Right.
board.
Right.
Yep.
What happened that, and this is, Judy, help me understand this, because so our budget is different. We run from June 1st.
The village.
The village
Okay.
runs from June 1st until May 31st. When we figure out the budget and we need to increase rates, when are these rates going into effect?
February 1st. Every year. At the town end.
Okay, but I'm saying at the village end.
The village usually is in November. If everything gets done in June the way it's supposed to, June or July, it's supposed to be done for November for the village and February for the town, because you need time to advertise, have your meetings and all that. So you're always February of the following year. Or the town is, rather.
and I'm not dealing with them right now, cause I'm here as part of the village. Should we be doing something different? Because to me, it seems like our budget is starting in June, and if we need a rate increase, I don't care about them right now. It's almost, our budget season is almost over for that year before we're putting the new rates into effect.
I don't know, that's the way it's always been, and the IMA say we have to have it. We're supposed to do it earlier in the year at the village end, and every year I try, and I think we get closer. This year was August when we started doing numbers, but I remember other years, we did have our meetings in May and June. So we could have the increases, and then give you, the town, plenty of time to have the, meetings you need to have. The IMA says technically by June 1st.
What's that IMA stand for?
Intermunicipal agreement.
Roger.
There's 5 of them.
Thanks.
Well, 6 if you include Orleans.
And we also have them with the other townships that we service.
When does your budget year go, January 1st, or is it?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, what we agreed on last summer,
In August.
that still hasn't kicked in?
For the town? No, it's being, Molly will send the new bills February 1st.
I think we need to really look at that time frame, because if that's not going into effect until February 1st.
No, the town is February 1st, the village is November.
This year it was.
It should be every year.
So Sandy, your concern is that your budget is established June 1, you start operating on your budget, the numbers that are in your budget, which would be, let's say, revenues and expenses for these districts are those numbers that are in your budget tied to the increase change, or are they tied to the old numbers? Because that's...
If it's done before June 1st, in the past with Tina, it gets tied to the new numbers.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just, it seems like if you're 3/4 of the way through the year before it's taking effect,
I get it.
you know what I mean? I'm just,
This year was an off year being so late.
Okay. I'm good.
okay. I think that when we have working sessions, for me, that's something that needs to be looked in, because honestly, we should be looking at our new rate structures right now for June, and when we accept our budget, they should get their rates, and by the 1st of November, when they're doing their budget, they should be in effect.
Put those numbers.
Because
No, their rates don't go into effect till February 1, because there was never, even if we did it in June, there never seemed to be enough time to have meetings.
I mean, what we do is we ask for the rate change from you by January, okay? Whatever, which you've always been able to do.
Oh, yeah.
And it affects our bills that go out in April.
Because that's the first billing cycle.
Yeah, that's 3 months.
but do you guys see where I'm saying we're doing it wrong?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'm gonna agree we're doing it wrong. I will say it needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
Question, since we're talking about stuff like this, one of the things that we need to solve, and I'm not saying we're gonna solve this tonight, and maybe it's already taken care of, is we've been trying to get the meter read the same time by both a town personnel and a village personnel. Is that being done?
I thought we were. I mean, if not, that can be done.
And
phone call.
that was important to us because of the...
For tracking of water loss.
I don't think it will be, because I used to read it the first of the month. And the village was, or the town was just before me, a couple days before me. Now these guys aren't reading until the end of the month.
And the other reason it was important to us was because you guys are billing us, so your guy's going and reading the meter, and he's reading the meter, so we need to read the meter at the same time your guy is, and which has been happening, because Jamie takes a picture of the meter.
Right.
And we have the pictures of the meter here on file.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
there was-
not an issue. We can work
There
it
was
out.
there was a timing deal that we had a problem
Yeah,
with.
I used to read with Jamie we read at the same time because we had to go in the pits. So we both read at the same time, and it was always at the start of the month.
Yeah.
Now, I think our guys are at the end of the month, but I think maybe they go and read with Jamie, so that may be our
Yeah,
difference.
we'll make-
Our personal readings might be later.
Yeah.
With the town ones, we always read together because we had to go in the pits, and there was no sense opening it twice.
Well, that's something Pat can work out, so he and Lucas.
See, something that's very important to us that we are trying to do is we're trying to balance our 245 meter readings in Redwood to the master meter on its way to Redwood, is what we're trying to balance, and we've had all kinds of issues there. And I mean, we need to do that for every district.
Understand.
Okay?
The sheet that I gave you guys, the very top left-hand corner where it says actual, that total usage, which one did I give you? The one that says 69 or the?
69.
Okay. So that was the revised one. The first one.
Well, this is the wrong one.
I hope it's the right one.
This was done at 2 p.m. and it says we're charging you $11, and that's wrong.
Right, so this is the way it started out.
Okay, so do you have the other one to give to everybody?
I have the one that says, second one from Thomas Hayes.
That's 349,
Yep.
that's the correct one.
Okay.
So can we have that?
That has the lower gallon figure, but there's other numbers in there. Oh, okay, I see it. Yeah.
Oh, this is where it, cause you got a higher gallon on the next new one, right? Yeah, 96 million. Yeah.
Can I give everybody one? So that's where, that first one we started out at. And then through discussion, that's when we realized that the village use number was only the amounts that they were actually billing their customers. So any water loss or non-metered water within the village was not being, taken into consideration. That's why, you know, the village has started metering, the fire department, and in the spring, we're gonna meter on the village docks and up at the.
Everything every building in the village or property that uses water will have a meter on it by spring. And that way, there will be a differentiation between village metered water and village lost water.
And by these numbers, so all these guys probably don't understand it, or maybe, I don't know, but 11 is 11 million?
Yes.
Yep. So you're not looking at 11,000 something, everything's millions. I was gonna say, cause they were all small numbers. They don't as hard as if you only use 60, that was more.
Nope.
No.
We're doing real good.
No, yeah, those are millions.
60 million.
Yeah. But you can see where the huge increase, when that water wasn't being accounted for at all, it was making the rates for the town.
Artificially high.
Yeah.
By
It should have
a
been,
substantial amount.
it should have been probably looked at closer when it was done the first time. After talking to Thomas after the meeting, this year, is the village's largest amount of unmetered or lost water in a long time. So that's why we're doing all the meters. And under the IMA agreement, depending on, as Thomas says, who you talk to and how it's understood, there is the opportunity for the village to bill the town for some of its lost water. Thomas and I had a major discussion about that, and shouldn't happen. So that's, then we,
And that's in the IMA agreement.
yes.
Pretty
And if you,
black and white.
yes, so that's why we went from this first one to the second one. Thomas fixed it, everybody got it, everybody's numbers came down to where it is, you know, and these numbers are maybe $1 more than they were last year, some of them. You know, it's like every other year they go up and down.
Quick question.
Mhm.
This number, looking at both sheets, this
total usage, it went from 69,784. Was that figured just based on adding up those meters, and then did someone actually just go look at a meter? Is that what, that was it?
Yeah, this is supposed to be the water withdrawn from the river.
Yep.
And that's what we did.
Okay. And then
From a meter that's at the water plant.
At the plant, we'll pump it.
Or comes up on the river.
Comes right out.
It's treated water.
yes. Then eventually someone said, let's go actually look at the meter. Right, okay.
So from my recollection, and I don't remember real well going back years, but I believe that we've always handled this formula the same way. And it's always been based, so for X amount of years, which could be 5, could be 10, so depending on the use of the water district. The town's rate's been based off, including the water loss.
The way Thomas explains it, again, because I had him, because I knew we were coming, he said yes.
My point. Yep. That's what it is, right? Can't go backwards, can we? No. Anybody else have?
So, this year, the rates are going from, I didn't bring any of my paperwork, I was expecting to just listen. But, from what I understand, in 23, okay, so Red was at 338, I don't have all the numbers in front of me, I just wrote some down real quick, so. Redwood was at 338, if I have this right. Otter Street was at 367. Route 12, Carnegie Bay, and Edgewood were at 650, and Orleans was at 338. I couldn't get in the office today. I grabbed some paperwork. And these numbers on the end are per thousand, the rate.
This may be, yes, a dumb question, but, where, are you concerned about the losses?
Our loss one? Yeah, that's why we're putting a meter on, everything will have a meter.
This is the first I've seen this, what the loss was. This is the first, since I've been on.
From your historical background, I mean, what?
It's up and down.
Okay.
It's up. The hard thing to do when you do water usage, they allow so much because of firefighting and all that stuff, so.
Yeah, but we're even gonna have a meter for that.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. But years ago, we used to go down as a courtesy thing and watch people parking lots and stuff. Well, that year was a big year like this year. And we stopped it. That's when it stopped. Now it's going again. So now that's why the meters are gonna have to come out and stuff. Cause you start doing all that stuff, we just sit there and run water, and you got a river right there, and we try to get them to pump in the river. Use your drafting system and wash the parking lot with river water.
How, fire needs a lot of water.
Oh, you can pump quick with a flare truck.
So we ran into this issue.
Same as yours.
4 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And so we bought a meter that attached to the fire hydrant, like what you're talking about, that tells you how much was short. And then we had a situation where I think we had it happen 2 times at the same time. So I think we have a second.
We actually happened with me,
Yeah.
I used to flush the Carnegie Bay line. And I believe it was Dale or somebody come by and saw me and had a stroke because we were flushing that line. So that's when we bought the meter, because they wanted to start metering that water because it was a lost water. But the bad part of that lost water, when we're trying to figure out something like that, when we're running it, you have to have a .2 out there for chlorine. And if you haven't got it, somebody gets sick on that end, that water flush, that's for having the chlorine down to that, it takes a long time to pull it down.
So we've got
So
two
that's
or
what
three
it's
spots that I know of, and maybe you know.
So you have a meter that you put on
We
when
have
you flush it?
Yeah, there's one.
And we have it now too, we will do that every time they flush a meter.
You monitor.
We have to
Yes.
flush that.
Yeah.
They will know how much water comes out of it.
So they could actually,
Ground, and those guys have got to put
what Redwood used theirs for a lot.
It's all got to be
Swimming
swimming
pools.
Yeah.
Right. They were filling swimming pools.
values.
Somebody would tell you the swimming pool's only got 5,000 gallons, but you knew it had more than that. Nobody goes and measures a swimming pool, they just start hauling water, you know, and then they go by tank loads, and you don't know what you got in tank loads, so those guys started using meters, and they take a meter reading, and then the
Right.
person would get billed by the meter reading.
So every-
It starts and finishes, and they just put the number from the meter and keep it on there.
Right.
Cause it gets out of hand, water gets out of hand fast, real fast.
I mean, it's,
It'll make a
we
big
had a
difference.
deal a couple of years ago where they were paving 81.
Well, they're not metered in.
First. And when you're grinding it out on the quantity of water, they have to use a
Dock
grinder.
bathrooms.
How about the golf course?
Golf course,
They were going to our fire hydrant next to
Can you
all
explain,
things there. They're going to the fire hydrant there, and
distribution
they're filling up, well, they were doing that for a week
on
before we
Edgewood?
found out.
there?
And we got a phone
there-
call, so I went up there, right?
So I got a phone call from Mr. Ridley,
Asked him a million questions.
week and a half ago.
How often do you do this?
and he questioned his bill
Yeah.
and wondered why, when he said he had, and he's gonna get the stuff together and bring it into me.
Had a whole record.
When Edgewood put in their water system, correct me, this was probably
I was
during your
there.
time. Did they pay for their own meter and pay for everything, and then once it was installed, just turn it over to town slash
They actually
village?
paid for everything to be done, and it was gonna stay in the village of Alex Bay. And then Sampy wanted to turn it in, because he got with Mr. Ridley, and they wanted to turn it into a town water line, because it was cheaper for the town to take the water line over. And for a different bill, his bill went half, when we were billing from the village, his bill went completely in half when the town took that line.
Because of the rate.
Because they own the line now, you guys,
Because of that.
because of the rates. Our rates were high because we were charging for an outside user. Okay, so we were paying an outside user rate just like we did at Carnegie Bay. The only ones in Carnegie Bay we ever had, the only outside user was, Shorty Jeanette. Shorty Jeanette was the only one on that line that was an outside user. So, he got charged outside rate. Shirley Irwin's old house, the little double line, that's in the village. Her tap and water line's in the village. Shorty Jeanette's is just outside, and then it went to the village barn. So that was the only two lines out there at the time. Then when they put the new main in, they took that over, so they picked up Mike Jeanette's. Now it's not Shorty's, but it's Mike Jeanette's. And they become a town resident, and so he no longer paid the outside user rate. He pays the town rate now, because the town has the meter pit before.
Who owns that now? Cause Jeanette is not one of the names in Carnegie Bay that's getting built.
Mike owns it, doesn't he, still?
He may not, and he may be on our line he may be up on this side of the meter then. He's probably on this side of the meter before they put that line in.
Okay, 'cause I was
So
gonna
he's
say-
probably still paying outside user, but he was one that they were gonna hook on the far side, but they did not. It's on this side of the meter pit.
So
Right beside Shirley Irwin's.
if Edgewood put in all of their infrastructure themselves, paid for everything themselves, and then it got turned over, why are they being charged distribution and storage?
It's a town line. It's not, Edgewood don't own that line. The town of Alexandria owns that line. I believe.
I don't think so.
Well, that's how it was done. It was done through the town with Sampy, that Edgewood was the town was taking that line over, making a town line, so you wouldn't have to pay outside distributor anymore. That was done with Sampy starting the village alley pay back then. That's how it was done. And he was taken off our charge, because we kept him in the meter pit. We kept the readings all the time. And then when it went across, because they were actually talking about one time looping that over from Otter Street, looping that main instead of going the other way. And they didn't.
They're the only ones in that water district, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do we have formation paperwork of that water district?
I doubt it, that was a handshake deal. I don't believe there was any big meeting about it or anything, it just got done.
I've seen IMA agreements signed, but I have never seen any kind of agreement
No,
for
and they paid for it.
Edgewood.
Edgewood paid for everything.
Paid for it and then turned it over on the
They
handshake.
paid for it, Sandy got them to pay for the whole thing, and then they turned it over, and the town took that line over, because we don't even have any responsibility from that line across the creek. And that was part of the deal, so we don't have to mess with the line across the creek anymore.
We're saying, right.
We're saying that there's probably no paperwork on that
I think the
anywhere.
agreement,
I've never
cause
seen
even
I can,
Mr. Ridley said, he
years
said,
ago.
you guys are responsible for nothing. He said, once it comes out of that meter, he said, it's our responsibility.
It is their line.
It's their line and their responsibility, so, and I know he made that statement, and that's the way I've always understood it to be.
what's your question?
So my question is,
Why is it getting charged distribution if?
yeah, why
no-
is he getting charged distribution and storage when he put in everything himself?
Because it's probably going through the distribution for us
Well, you
giving it
have to
to
be
them.
charged storage.
We get the
And
distribution, you gotta
treatment.
pay it.
It comes from
Treatment.
us.
Yeah.
How's he gonna get water if we don't, up our distribution lines, how's he gonna get water? Cause he's gonna
Comes from
get
us.
charged distribution.
And
He's gonna get
treatment.
charged storage.
And
from our town.
that's why the number is so minimal, he's getting
Okay,
charged
okay.
storage.
That's how he's getting charged.
All right.
You're gonna get charged no matter what. You're
Right.
either gonna get charged from us, or you're gonna get charged from the town. One or the other. If you guys were serving him, he would get charged the same.
So we got another question to ask you.
Okay.
And that is that, on this Edgewood account, we have a past bill that was, I wanna say $22,000. Was it higher than that, or we've been whittling that down?
It was
Wait a minute.
started out right
Whose
around.
bill is this?
It's Edgewood's.
Edgewood's bill to you,
Yes,
okay? Okay,
and we don't know where it came from. We have dogged it,
what year?
we've gone back to 15 and 14,
Yep.
and we see it there. And then we don't see it.
And it's a village bill?
No.
Oh, okay,
It's due from Ridley to the town.
Yep.
oh,
But it's,
You remember anything that went on back?
Ridley owned it in 14?
no, it was,
He didn't own it in
I want to say it
14.
was before him. There was a fund
good
balance.
luck.
So
That was
they've
the
been in,
reason it was,
they've been in,
probably.
they've had a
got
negative
missed when it
fund
got-
balance.
Now, I don't know if they
Thinking
threw all
about
my meter books
bankruptcy.
away, but I was
What I
there
think.
since 90s, early 90s.
Yeah, I mean, we're just assuming
And,
it's a past due bill, and we're wondering who's past due, because we were thinking
Well, all
about
my
trying
meter
to.
books, unless they threw them away, all the meter books, I always kept all the pages. They're all strapped together from year to year to year to year down there, but I think when they cleaned everything out, they just, I'm not sure.
Molly.
They would be down at the water plant. I kept them
Oh,
at
at the water plant, all right, okay.
So the old meter books would be there, and there would be a name on the meter books, but Molly should be able to look it up in the computer too, she should.
Not this week.
No, but I'm saying she could go back on it and tell who had it.
Yeah, well, the office is,
Okay, why, when did the bill show, it just kept rolling over the?
and you're saying it goes back to 14?
They pay their current
I'm
bill,
not
but-
sure when it goes back to. I know that Mike Lasan went back through our financials, and he went back to a certain point that he said he couldn't go back any further, and the number was there.
But
Are
see, if it
Ridley
was,
paying on it?
No,
if it was back in 14, it wouldn't even be you guys.
I'm not sure what the year is.
I can't remember what year they changed over, but they should have it in their meter books when it changed over. If they're down there, Molly should be able to look it up, but I know it wasn't Ridley back then. No way.
I don't even remember who owned it.
See, there was a funny deal there, because.
I know where the funny deal is, but I'm not gonna say it here.
Well, I'm saying about the other part, the other part of the funny deal.
That bad?
Yeah,
It was right before Ridley, probably.
that
Yeah.
Ridley took it over
He knows
from,
who it is, too.
Ridley took it over from Marola.
Okay, come on.
And it was an
There you
Orchard
go,
Park
you
deal.
just said it.
Yeah.
That's where I think it happened.
That's what we're-
Because that's when it switched
The M
over.
word.
Is that what you didn't want to say?
That's when it switched over, that's when
I'm missing
Ridley took
something.
it over, and that overlap was right then.
Yeah.
Okay? That's when it happened.
Yeah.
But when you guys, that shouldn't even be affecting you, because you guys didn't take it over until Ridley put the meter pit and stuff in there. That was old, that was Village Alex Bay still,
Yeah,
for an outside.
there's a $20,000 bill hanging on that.
I don't disagree, but I'm
How
not
would
sure
we
if
have
it's
record
yours,
of it, cause we didn't,
if you guys
the
had
town
taken it
wasn't
over
billing
before
until
that,
after Ridley put it in
or
anyways.
not.
See,
But they
we're
should
not
have-
sure either.
No, I think they were.
They should have from when that
They were?
meter
I thought you said the
originally
village
started,
had it.
brand new, the meter that's in that
Yeah,
building
yeah, all the way
now
back
is when
to-
Ridley took over. So that should be able to take you back to that year. The original start of that meter
Right.
zero
Yeah.
should tell you who owned that and who had it, but I know Ridley paid for the pit and everything. I know.
I don't think we're gonna be able to do anything about it, because I think it's, as we've talked about.
I think it got missed in bankruptcy paperwork.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Past,
thinking.
past owner bankruptcy program, yeah.
That's where I'm thinking it went, that way. But,
Moving on.
yeah.
You see my questions here, I'm just kinda going through this, not that I'm expecting, definitely not expecting any answers tonight, so. And I know that you guys have got a lot more work on it too, right?
What questions, need data for 5-town water districts? What do you need data?
Say that again?
The one
That's just the questions below,
oh, okay,
yeah. Stuff that affects all of our districts.
okay.
Yep. A lot of these you really can't answer for you.
Right now, right, a lot of these we can't answer for you right now.
No, not yet.
So just to get clear on it, as far as the IMA, I'm thinking about dates that things have to be done by, okay? And you guys do your rate adjustment, which we talked about earlier. Is there anything else that is date driven in this thing? This is supposed to be reviewed every year, is that correct?
3 years.
Once every 3 years?
Mhm.
There's a bunch of ours are every year that allows it, so. But that 3-year deal doesn't mean does that mean the rate can only be changed every 3 years?
No,
No.
the IM
Rates is changing every year.
Yeah. I
The
just said-
IMAs can be reviewed every 3 years. And that doesn't mean
And or amended, if approved?
amended if approved to some degree, depending where it goes and everybody agrees on it.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
hopefully, as far as degree, it's what the majority agrees to,
Right.
of you. Yeah. Okay.
Well, then I think if you're gonna amend IMA agreements, I think you also have to get Orleans involved, because, and
And maybe.
Clayton, not maybe,
Well,
Clayton, because they have a signed IMA.
Yeah.
And they all have to agree, and one of them is a 25-year IMA.
Mhm.
I think it's Orleans.
Tied to the loan?
I'm not sure if it's tied to loan, but it's 25 year.
Yep. Just like to know the rules, you know? Anybody else got any more questions?
What I find.
Anybody else have any more thoughts about anything? Because one of the things that, what I don't wanna do tonight, but it's just something for everybody to think about for the future. I'd like to have a meeting like this with the village and town, and I'd like to talk about projects. I'd like to talk about community enhancement, I'd like to talk about village enhancement, I'd like to talk about all that, just so we can kind of be on the same page. But that's not for tonight. Are you guys okay with that? And we'll set up
It's good.
Yeah, I'm sure with that.
Fine with that.
And actually, it works good for us after a few days or X amount of days after a board meeting, because we just adjourn that board meeting and go to and have a work session with you.
Right, we can do the same
And
thing
you
like
can
we
do the
did.
same
Do the same thing.
Right.
That's part of, one of our, hopefully, strategic initiatives is, to, not bridge the gap, but making sure that we have shared resources. To Greg's point, the loader, anything that we can work smarter, not harder. We're all family and friends in the same, living together, working together, family. So, making sure that we are using our resources, corporately for the common good, I think is a win-win situation. It should be a symbiotic, transparent relationship between us and the village.
Mhm.
If that's
I agree.
Yep. Anybody have any more?
How many,
Just a couple of things that I'll mention that, go ahead.
how many, this is something that I've thought about just seeing both sides. How many water guys do we have? Don't we have like one in training?
We got
Right.
two.
Well, right, we have Pat, who is our full-time, and we have Lucas, who is training, and then we have Kevin at the wastewater treatment plant, and they all can do both.
All have licenses, or the one
Well,
in training does
the
not?
one in training does not yet.
How far does he have to go in training yet to be licensed?
He's signed up.
He's going
He's
for-
going in the spring, I believe.
First,
Sign up for the test?
yeah,
Well, it's a school, he's gonna.
school, and then the
class.
test.
I'm assuming, so correct me if I'm wrong, does one of those guys have to come in every day, even on weekends?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Because
right
I-
now, they got a problem down there, they got a turbidimeter problem.
Yeah.
So every time that pump runs down there, they gotta read that turbidity every hour, so there's gotta be a guy in there when that pump's reading now. Okay, I went down yesterday and talked to Lucas about it, and, just because I
That's fine, I talked to
just
Pat.
because I knew the plant, and I
Right.
thought maybe I could help him if there was some stupid wiring
No.
thing, but there's a computer board that reads the turbidimeters every hour when the pumps are running. And it hit the power on and off, hit that computer board. So what happens is, which they can do, and they've been doing this, one's coming in 6 to 2, Lucas is 6 to 2,
No, Kevin's
Kevin's
2 to
10, and
Pat's 10 to 6.
10 to 6, which we, years ago, when we had that, and I asked them what they were pumping, years ago when I was there, and I was the only water guy, and Gary Hogan was the other, I had the same thing happen. And of course, those computers they're done, you can't get those, and you can't get parts for them, so they're gonna end up probably buying a new
We're
one.
buying new ones, and they,
And, they'll put in new ones, 'cause they're Don Bowley put them in for me when I was there.
right, well, that's gonna be an insurance claim,
Yeah.
and the insurance claim is gonna also cover the overtime.
Yeah.
And, the health department, Mike Tracy, is happy and fine as long as we keep doing this.
Right. So, they can,
So what did you do when you were the only one?
well, I pumped
Put a
up,
cot in there.
I pumped up during the day. I would wait until 12 noon,
That's what I thought.
run the towers full. At 4 o'clock, I went home. You got a dialer that calls your house. If there's a fire, if there's anything in that water tower starts to drop, it calls you. It dials you after it hits the 86 feet, which, that's what I used to have it set at, this tower over here, from 94. When it hits that 86, the dialer dials you, which I never had it dial me in the night, cause you only use about 150 dialed in the winter anyway, a day. I wouldn't say you're using more than, maybe 200 in winter right now, I don't know how many people are around, but that's what I used to use, I used to use about 150,000 in the winter, so you could pump up during the day, and then you got the dialer to call you. So you could you could play that system, and you drop your towers, you drop your actual alarm. There's an alarm setting in the computer on the panel, which they could drop from 84, drop it down to 80, drop it another 4 feet, and you know that thing's not coming down 10, 12 feet at night, unless we have a fire. And if we have a fire, there's still a lot of water in there, they could start pumping when they got in. But I lived right here. I lived right down the street, so I never worried about it. I mean, I could be there in 2 minutes if the tower drops. Some of our guys live in Morristown and stuff. So that makes a difference also.
Right.
For somebody to come in and kick it on.
Well, where I was headed with that, and during this scenario, because obviously they're having to be there way more than normal, but where I was heading is I know that we only have one water guy, and Jay, who backs him up. And since, I'm thinking during normal times, at any point, could there be a discussion between the two groups that there be shared services, so that, you know, people will need weekends off or whatever, if our guy's coming in.
Well, we cover, normally we cover the weekends. One of them takes Friday off and comes in and does a half a day on Saturday and Sunday. So that's not a problem. And, you know, if you're going to only have, you know, 2 guys, you know, Pat has a long-term plan, you know, who's our head water guy. He's been with us since 19, I think. He has a 3 to 5 year plan. It was a 5-year plan, but now it's a 3-year plan, and his wife is not well, so he's taking some time to take care of her. So that's why we're pushing training Lucas and getting in there, and we're happy that we have Kevin that can do both. Can we do it without The third one, yeah, but then I have no backup when it's time to do what we need to do.
In other words, but our three guys, once Lucas takes a test, they did away with the C license. So if he gets a 2A, he don't need a C to run your plant. When we went to school, we started as a 2B, then we went to a 1A, or to a B, 2B, 1A, and then we had to go, after we went to 1A, it's the top, next to the top license, or 2A license, it's one more, 1A is run the city of Watertown. And we had to go back and get a C license. When you guys, we put the town on, because that's just a distribution license, which is the lowest license you have to have, is a C license. So now we did that, we all did that, and just kept clicking up on license, it's a, is this being taped?
Yeah.
Okay, I won't say it, but it's just a money grab, I did say it. Because we all had the licenses, everybody that I went to school with had the 2A licenses, and the C, and it covers everything but the distribution, where we couldn't send water to, like, I couldn't go work with Jamie when he first was on, so I went and took my C license, I took it right over the computer, right in the water plant, and got my C license. The state come down, they just took a 10-question test there to get a C license, so I could work with Jamie if he needed help. And then we could send water, cause our guys had to have that, but now that's all part of a 2A license.
So our situation, town of Alexandria,
Any one of our guys are licensed.
one water operator and one sewer operator, and they're both talking about retiring in 3 to 4.
Yep. We're gonna be in the same thing, cause I think we're gonna lose.
And most of the requirements are a year of training, are they not?
Yep, yeah, you gotta have a year of training on each facility.
Because we started talking this fall about putting in the budget a training person. And then
You should train one, at least get one in there.
We looked
get
at
one
the time
going.
clock and we thought we might have another year before we have to do that, in other words, in 25.
I know I think you have Kara Service contracted too, so he can do both too.
He's a backup that we're required to do
He can
as
run
far
both,
as.
he has licenses for both of those.
Yeah.
I know.
And your guys' licenses as far as sewer, do they cover ours too?
Ours is a stronger license, it's a bigger license.
Okay, so it
and
does
I'm not positive if that, cause ours is,
Includes.
I don't know if it includes.
I don't know if it'll include it, but I think if you talk to the DEC and you see our plant, then go and see what they got. Yeah, it'd probably be just to sit in there and maybe talk to them, cause yours are actually just large septic tanks versus the plant we have, you know what I mean?
I mean, we've discussed it with the town of Orleans,
Yeah.
because the town of Orleans has 3 or 4 sewer districts, and they have 4 or 5 sewer employees.
4 or 5?
4, at least 4, right? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they expanded big, they're big
They're all over.
sewer and water, cause they're Fisher's Landing, they're everywhere, they're over on Wellesley, they took Wellesley Island over, they got everything. But, yeah, and I'll tell you, I bet you when Lucas goes to school, I bet there won't be 5, 6 people in there. When I went, there was 20, 30.
No,
Nobody's doing it. Nobody's going for it anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing anything anymore.
No, that's true, you got it there.
Let's be
but-
honest.
I mean, but it's a hard course to pass
To take.
it's really, the sewer plant is really gonna be the tough one.
And we're using this problem, the 4-page letter we got, and, about this issue, and then also a health inspection that we had. But this problem we sent over to EFC because we're waiting for one stupid piece of paper that says go on this water infrastructure project. It keeps, we need one more. And when I said to Gregor, send this to them, because let them see that some of our stuff is so old, we are having a problem before we become an emergency. But the funny part of all of that is, once you become an emergency, you get the money.
You get money. Yep.
So-
I've been there, done that. We had a contempt order, remember, from the
Well, we
village?
did.
And the money started flowing.
Came in fast.
Yeah.
We had to fix it, we couldn't say it's broken,
Yeah.
because then it's another problem.
So do you guys have an idea how long it's gonna take you to get out of this problem, where you've got a guy reading it every hour or 2 hours?
Well,
Hopefully next week.
he talked to Don, right, and I was gonna call Don, I'm really good friends with Don, but I was gonna call Don and see what he had, 'cause he's got a lot of stuff on his shelves, so he may have something to get it up and get it going, then order a new
New
one.
ones.
But I think they're coming to look at it
Yeah.
next week, I believe he's coming to look at it next week. Lucas wasn't positive.
It is.
Pat wasn't there, so
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Does anybody else have anything they wanna address here as far as any of this, or anything else?
No.
Great discussion.
Should our next move be to have, well, we gotta continue with this subject, and then we're also gonna bring in the subject of town-wide, village-wide. How do we wanna do it?
We can just schedule something down the road.
Yeah, at least quarterly, right?
Yeah.
Which one first?
Well, it's probably gonna take them a little while to get the answers on this, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a while till we can,
So do we wanna do
Well, we're gonna do
an
that,
announcement meeting
we're
next?
doing the walkthrough
the
the
31st.
31st. That's when their engineer and Dank and the guy
And
for
that's
the
at
water
3.
tower will hear it. So
3 o'clock
anybody
on
who's
the
interested
31st.
in that big project,
3:00.
No, I wasn't, because I was.
We'll take it down. 3:00.
Now, how's that work for us?
Don't have,
For notifying, you know what I mean, 'cause you're gonna send me a message to remind me, right?
Notifying,
I mean,
I won't be here.
to the public, I mean,
oh,
I'll be
we'll
in
tell
Florida,
Molly,
so I won't be here.
and she'll either have to advertise it or,
No.
With your electric.
we're gonna continue this,
My electric line,
we continue
wouldn't
our
get me to
meeting,
water
we're gonna
till-
continue
What do
this
you think
meeting.
about them people that
I'll
can't
talk to
charge their
Molly.
cars?
She might
No,
have-
no,
I'm saying,
well, yeah, this will be an
When do we start
adjournment
running
until,
over?
yeah, we should adjourn until
Adjourn this until
November, or January
yeah,
31st. We're also adjourning to the 24th for the wastewater, and the
Correct.
31st.
Wait a minute, what's this 24th is earlier?
Plug with
That's not really a,
an electric car?
that's their meeting. No,
As long as there's more two of us there.
What?
There's more two of us there.
That's what We do anyway. We will advertise
I was
it.
gonna say, we discussed this at our last meeting, so I think both of those should have been advertised.
Do you think so?
for the sewer?
You guys shouldn't, because you don't have anything, you don't have sewer
You don't have
districts
anything
that have
to do with
anything to do with them, so I wouldn't think that you guys would need
Water's
to go.
gonna-
If you wanted
Are
to,
we
because
gonna
you were
go to
just
what? Are we gonna
interested.
go to, as a group of us, of more than two of us, to talk with them?
For the water,
Yeah, for any of them.
well, if you wanna come
For
in.
the water,
I
yeah.
mean, my
For the
understanding is
water,
that if we
yes.
have more than two of us, we gotta advertise it. Unless somebody's gonna tell me I'm
You
wrong.
have to.
Open meeting law, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which isn't a problem.
No,
My question is, there's one on the 24th I've got here and one on the 31st.
Yes.
Right.
And the town is gonna be at both of them,
You wanna be at the sewer, that's fine.
okay?
Yeah, go come, go on.
Okay.
So, we need to adjourn this meeting to the 24th to 3 PM.
Right.
For this. Unless you want me to start over, well, we'll run out, no, I don't have enough time.
It's a good
Gotta
idea.
adjourn.
Adjourn,
Yeah, when we get,
I mean, I don't know yet if I'm making either one of those.
I know that I'm not.
I know you're not.
Oh, at 3 PM you're not? Oh,
I'm out of town.
On the 31st?
But that doesn't matter, that's slowing us down, guys and girls.
You ain't lying. You're not lying. There's no single point of failure here.
Single point?
There's no single point, there's like about 5 of them.
So, do we have anything more we wanna talk about in relation to all this and everything we talked about? Anybody, how long have we been here?
Hour.
Hour, Jesus, time flies. I don't have anything more.
Good.
Unless we wanna have specific questions or things that we're looking for from them. I kinda touched on a few things in here. I think maybe if anybody has some more questions or more thoughts.
Yeah,
let's
send
get
it
Let's
over.
get an email together and we'll send it to them.
We can reconvene.
Yeah, and so we're gonna ask a couple to make a motion to reconvene this meeting to the 24th at 3 PM. Where's that gonna be? That's,
We gotta make a motion to go to executive session.
Yep.
I'll make the motion.
it's gonna be at the village office.
at the village office.
And then when we come out of that, we'll adjourn to that.
Okay.
3 o'clock.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That's for the sewer.
For the sewer.
you guys don't need to
You
adjourn
guys-
for that, because you're not gonna be there, he's not gonna be there, it's not gonna be a quorum. If those two wanna show up to our meeting, that's our meeting.
That's our meeting for the sewer.
I'm pretty certain we're on.
You don't need to adjourn until the 24th, because it's not your meeting, it's their meeting.
So you won't be here?
And you two aren't gonna be there, so
What
it's
about
Neither is he.
What about the 31st?
You only got one.
Yeah.
You only
so
got one.
That's why you're just coming.
I ain't coming 24th, so save it.
Yeah.
I won't be here either, sorry.
I'll be there the 31st.
That's the water, that's the one that's,
That's the important one.
that's the important one. Sewer isn't important.
You guys, if there's gonna be three of you, need to say you're doing a working session with the village on the 31st.
I'm not gonna be here, so I don't
You
know.
won't, is there gonna be three? Will you make
I
the
don't know
31st?
yet. I don't know that yet.
Okay.
I don't think
Are
Dale's
you-
gonna be here.
No,
Gene, are you gonna be here on
we
the
don't want
31st?
Dale there
I'm
because,
checking with my wife right now.
Oh, so you might have two.
yeah, but you
I was
guys,
just gonna say.
Dale will be back, you'll have two if you talk Dale in.
I don't know that Dale will be back.
I was gonna say,
31st, he will.
we
got advertised for a week.
don't want Dale and his delicate condition to be wandering
I was just
around
gonna say,
out there
31st he won't.
on that
It's
stuff
too
up and
quick.
downstairs,
No.
no. That was
So
one
there might be
thing
two
our
of you.
attorney told us was,
Yeah, maybe two.
I'm waiting.
You'll be fine.
We'll just keep paying attention to what's going on.
Two can come, no problem.
Yes.
yeah.
Yep, don't have to do a thing. So we are adjourning and going to executive session, we gotta talk about two things.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, nice to meet you.
That was painless. Nice to meet you both.
My partner bring the key back.
Unless it's in my mailbox, I didn't see it in there.
Question, you guys are.
I know.
I'm in and out, I
Dougie told me, we gotta go in there and do that.
Yeah,
report.
so I had to get that furnace
Which, yeah,
going.